Hey guys, welcome to Earth Nails and Tails. My name is Phil, and this is our garden. So I'm a self-taught gardener that lives here in southeastern Virginia, and I've been gardening for over 5 years. And for the last 3 years, I've been working on this property where I have been creating a more self-sufficient and sustainable lifestyle. My goal for Earth Nails and Tails is to create a place to compile information so that viewers can learn how to grow their own food the right way for the first time. So in this intro video, I wanted to just take some time and answer some questions from you guys about how we do gardening here on our property. So let's head into the garden and I'll start answering some of the questions that you guys have.
Our first question is, how big is your gardening space?
All right, so we have here about 1,000 square foot dedicated gardening space, but we only have about 500 square feet of beds. And right now we have the garden set up so that way they're all currently raised beds. We did take some time this year to transition from in-ground beds to raised beds, which you can see the newer beds over here and on the other side of our garden. So all of the beds together, including this one here that's covered, makes up about 500 square feet of actual growing space.
Do you prefer in-ground gardening beds or raised beds?
So I personally prefer the raised beds. They're just a lot easier to handle and control. You can control the weeds a lot easier, and it kind of just gives you a more defined space for you to work out of. However, if you're just getting started, I highly recommend in-ground beds. It's not like in-ground beds are better than raised beds or raised beds are better than in-ground beds. They're equally as powerful and efficient, but it's really just for ergonomic issues that I prefer the raised beds.
Next question, what type of vegetables do you grow?
So we grow a lot of different vegetables, from asparagus to zucchini. This spring we grew spinach, carrots, beets, cauliflower, broccoli, cucumbers, as I said, zucchini, yellow squash, spaghetti squash, Swiss chard, sweet potatoes. I mean, we grew pretty much anything that you would have in your common grocery list. So if you're looking at starting different vegetables, just make a list of the vegetables that you eat the most and that you're most interested in growing, and that's definitely where you want to start, because if you're interested in doing something, you're going to put more time into researching that topic, and you're probably going to have better success.
Next question, what type of fertilizer do you use and how often do you fertilize?
So here on our property, we use only natural organic fertilizers, and most of the time we really only use compost, which we can get from a local distributor. So we use large batch compost, or sometimes we specifically use mushroom compost, which is basically just the soil left over from the mushroom growing process. So it's very high in organic material and has a lot of nutrition. And we also use your general fertilizers, which I can put in the link down below, to the fertilizer brand that I prefer to use, and it comes from all natural sources like alfalfa meal, bone meal, blood meal, stuff like that, which all have different nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium ratios. And we also do like to use other amendments such as azomite, worm castings, as well as biochar, and all of these things have been in all of our beds here on our property.
Next question, how often do you water the plants?
So that's a really good question, and there's not really one answer to that question. One thing that I really want to do here is add an irrigation system, which I have yet to do. But we do have sprinkler systems set up in the corners of the garden here, but all different plants require different amounts of water. So if you really want to do the best job that you possibly can, you need to provide the necessary amount of water required for each plant. But a really good way to kickstart that or provide the best environment for your plants is by making really good quality soil. So one thing that people should be including in their soil, which should make up at least 25% of your soil, is peat moss. And I'm going to go into this in a later video, but peat moss has an amazing ability to absorb, close to 10 times its weight in water. Don't quote me on the number, I'll make sure I get the exact one, but it has a great ability to absorb and maintain water. So during periods of high amounts of rain, that peat moss is going to absorb all that moisture, and then during periods of drought, that peat moss is going to allow the plants to use that water. So even if you don't have a perfect watering system, having peat moss in your soil will definitely help your plants get the right amounts.
Next question, what are some of your gardening goals?
So I would say for this garden here, so this is our at-home garden. This isn't a market garden, so everything that we grow here we eat, or if we make too much of it, then we'll give to our friends or family. But my goal for the garden is to grow as much food as we need to sustain ourselves. So I would love to eat off of this garden year-round.
Next question, what types of animals do you have and how many of each?
So for our pets, we have 2 cats, Ziggy and Russell. And we also have 10 egg-laying hens, which we got about a year and a half ago, a little bit longer than that now. But we got them for, obviously, their eggs, but we also use their manure to make our compost here on site.
Final question, how do you take care of your chickens and is it difficult?
So that's a great question. So we have a chicken coop that we have set up that I can take you to. So do I think taking care of chickens is difficult? No, I don't. But we also did a lot of research on them, and we know all of the different types of amenities that they need in order to be properly taken care of. So if you set up the process correctly, which I'm going to teach you guys how to do, you shouldn't have any problems raising your chickens. But as you can see here, here's our chicken coop, and the necessities that they need. They obviously need food, water, shelter, specifically covered shelter to keep them out of the elements, keep them dry in the rain. And they also need a coop that has a lot of ventilation. Chickens they require a lot of ventilation, especially because they're going to be basically going to the bathroom inside of their coop. So you need to make sure that it's well ventilated to get any of those odors, those smells out. There's no harmful chemicals that they're breathing in when they're sleeping at night. And it also provides a safe place for them to sleep. So those are the main things that we provide our chickens. And I'm going to be going into much more detail in our garden tour on our garden and our chicken coop tour. So I'll make sure that I leave the links to those videos below. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed the introduction video for Earth Males and Tails. Again, my name is Phil, and this channel is really just supposed to be about our journey, providing you with the best information about gardening, so that way you guys can get out there and start doing all of these things that I'm doing yourselves. So we want to just compile all of this information that we've been learning over the years, hours of research, to provide you the best compiled information to get you off and running. So I'm gonna post the links to the other videos that I've created down in the description below, and I just have so much content that I want to create and put out for you guys. So I really hope that you can stick around, provide us with some questions, some comments on what you think about our channel so far, and I just want to keep creating even more stuff for you. So thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy.